What's up, everybody? Henry from Big Apple Breakdown here. I know I haven't made much content in the last couple of months, probably since like the end of October. Started a new job that kind of just took all my time and attention, and I wasn't able to give this my all. So I haven't really been doing much. But today, I'm going to try out something a little bit different. Um, I just I'm going to do a little bit of like an unedited, unscripted thing where I'm just talking and giving my thoughts on something. And the topic today is just going to be Sam Darnold, talking about him and his time with the Jets and just the trajectory of how he's gotten to the point where he is now and how foolish the Jets were to just give up on him. I know we all can look back and see that, but I, as much as it's talked about, I don't think it's talked about enough. I mean, the Jets gave up on him when he was, I believe, still only 23. He played 3 seasons there. And this weekend with the Seattle Seahawks, he has a chance to go dethrone possibly the NFL MVP in Matt Stafford. I know it's a little bit of a debate whether Stafford should be the MVP or Drake May should be the MVP. Stafford has the better numbers, yes, and he also plays in the tougher conference, tougher division. In the NFC West, you have, besides the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are the number one seed in the NFC. Um, it's not like Matthew Stafford, the possible MVP, is going to Seattle to take on Sam Darnold and the Seahawks. He's not coming to LA to take them on. So, I mean, it's just amazing what Sam Darnold's been able to do. Um, we all know number 3 overall pick to the Jets. He was kind of propped up as the next thing. Probably the biggest quarterback prospect in a couple of years. Towards the end of the college football season and towards the draft, they try to like prop up these guys as these great draft prospects. I mean, you think back to Jared Goff was a great example. I feel like he has the body and the style to be a good pro quarterback, but he went to Cal, not a very prominent football school, and they kind of propped him up to be the number 1 overall pick. And you see the same sort of thing with Carson Wentz, who went to North Dakota. Even Zach Wilson, the Jets missed out on Trevor Lawrence, and they prop up Zach Wilson to be this great prospect. And obviously, we saw how that went. But Sam Darnold, his prominence really came to fruition when he was at USC. I want to say it was and I don't really have many notes here. I'm just kind of talking off the dome. I have a couple tabs pulled up, and I'll look things up as needed. But I'm kind of just talking off the top of my head. But Penn State in 2016 made the Rose Bowl. They played USC, and I remember growing up. I always rooted for Penn State. My sister went to Penn State, but that year was the year that Penn State beat Ohio State, and they took on USC in the Rose Bowl. They got snubbed from the college football playoff, in my opinion, and they took on USC. They had Saquon, Trace McSorley back then, and Sam Darnold had an amazing game. I'll actually look this up. Uh, Sam Darnold had an amazing game. They beat Penn State 59 or 52-49. He had 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was really one of the first times where I heard of the guy and I was like, wow, this guy could be a great player. And the whole next season, because he still had another year of college, they were talking about Sam Darnold like he was the surefire thing for the number 1 overall pick. Obviously, Baker Mayfield, he won the Heisman. I don't think he won the Heisman that year. I think he won the Heisman a couple years before he came out of the draft. But it was kind of a shocker that that Baker Mayfield overtook Sam Darnold and was the number one overall pick. Obviously, Saquon Barkley going to the Giants. Um, but I feel like in Sam Darnold's last year of college, he struggled just a little bit, and that was the only thing that had any doubts. He he had every trait you want out of a possible quarterback, just the arm talent, um, the competitiveness, and his playing style was just perfect for the NFL. And the Browns kind of shocked a lot of people. I remember Sam Darnold's pro day at USC. It was like a little drizzly, and he had a great pro day. And I kind of think it's funny looking back on it. They they as in the media acted like that pro day is what cemented him as the number one overall pick. Obviously, he wasn't the number one overall pick, but they acted like that's what cemented him as the number one overall pick because it was a little damp outside, the balls were a little wet, and I just think it's funny how media will glaze players like that. But just carrying on. So obviously Sam Darnold in his rookie year was 2018. He made his debut against the Lions on Monday Night Football. I remember this game so well because his first pass was a pick six thrown across his body, and then the Jets just absolutely stomped the Lions. They put up over 50 points and beat them very, very handedly. And, that was always Darnold's thing in New York. He was he exuded this talent, but he could never put it together. And obviously he's a young quarterback. Those rosters were some of the most brutal rosters I've ever seen. I mean, I know me and Johnny have talked about this before. Let me look up their 2018 roster because 2018 was a Todd Bowles year. That was Todd Bowles' last year with the Jets, and they went 4-12. He just didn't have in all of his time there. He didn't have any weapons, and it was a bunch of missed opportunities with draft picks. I'm gonna go back and talk about the 2020 draft specifically in a little bit, but Darnold's rookie year, his top target was Robbie Anderson. He had Isaiah Crowell as his running back, and I don't know if you guys remember his rookie year. This just came to my head when the Jets lost to the Browns. That was also, I think, a primetime game, maybe Monday night or Thursday night. And Baker Mayfield, Tyrod Taylor got hurt. Baker Mayfield came in and got the Browns like their first win because the year before, I believe, was their 0-16 season. He got the Browns their first win in like 2.5 years or something, which was pretty amazing stuff. And a lot like Sam Darnold's tenure with the Jets was also kind of just like one big giant meme because he could never get out of his own way. Also, he had the stint where he had mono. He played a week one game against Buffalo, and then all of a sudden it's coming out. He had mono. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks or whatever it was. And people were making fun of him. There was an ESPN graphic that just totally turned into a meme. And people were just making fun of him because it's like a disease everyone gets in high school when, they're just sharing germs and, doing their thing. But 2019, the Jets, if I'm not mistaken, this was Gase's first year. I believe this was the year that we signed Le'Veon Bell, which that's also just a blunder in and of itself. Yeah, so again, we have Robbie Anderson. Jamison Crowder was an addition this year, which, I mean, he was a fine player for the Jets, but not any sort of weapon, and that's probably with the Jets signing him, that's what they were expecting him to be. Le'Veon Bell had a pretty sorry tenure with the Jets, a big free agent signing, and that was kind of doomed from the start. He missed the whole year before, and nothing was going to come of that. And then the 2020 roster. So this was Darnold's final year here, and just like the others, Frank Gore is his running back. Jamison Crowder is his top receiver. I believe Frank Gore was like 37 this year. In what world are you going to pair a young quarterback, your young top 5 pick quarterback, with a guy like Frank Gore? That's just asinine to me. But then it was after, and not to jump around here, but going back to 2019, talking about how his tenure with the Jets was kind of a meme. In a 2019 game against the Patriots, I want to say he threw 4 interceptions, but the Jets lost like 30-0 to the Patriots. And there was a famous clip of him on the sideline. He's mic'd up, and ESPN played it, which, I mean, it's honestly just bad, like, media or journalistic integrity from ESPN to play this. A clip of Sam Darnold on the sideline saying, "I'm seeing ghosts." That should have never gone out. That should have never gotten played. It's just bad. Uh, it's unprofessional by ESPN that they let that get out. And yeah, it's funny for other people. Whatever. That just should have never gone out. But more than, like, yeah, Sam Darnold couldn't get out of his own way at times, and there's a lot of examples of that. But he couldn't get out of his own way, and there's a lot of examples of that. But the team didn't help him at all. And a really, really big draft that you could point to would be, in my opinion, I think it was, oh wait, would be the 2020 draft. So 2020 was his last year with the team, and in the 2020 draft, we took Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton. At this point, it's still Adam Gase at the helm as the head coach. And with the 11th overall pick, we took Mekhi Becton. I, at the time, was calling for the Jets to take a receiver. I really wanted CeeDee Lamb at the time. Obviously, you don't know what these guys are going to turn into. After Becton, Henry Ruggs went off the board. Obviously, tragic situation there in Las Vegas. But, I mean, he showed some promise when he was there. Even if you're not going to take the receiver and the Jets wanted to stay on course with a lineman, Tristan Wirfs, Super Bowl champion for Tampa Bay, went 2 picks later. There's just there was so much talent towards the end of this round of the draft. I mean, Justin Jefferson late in this round, or like mid-late this round, 22nd pick of this draft. And you take a guy like Mekhi Becton, who honestly was just fat and lazy. There's no sugarcoating this. He was just fat and lazy his whole entire tenure with the Jets. Looking at his body, how big he was, and being a Jets fan where there's no optimism to begin with, you see something happening and you're trying to figure out, oh, how are the Jets gonna mess this one up? If you looked at his body, you would have said that body's never gonna hold up, and it didn't. He kind of resurrected his career last year with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, but now he's with the Chargers and he's just having the same issues. I mean, and a lot of it is his fault. He's not taking care of himself. Obviously, if he were taking care of himself, he wouldn't. He would still have a lot of issues. I would imagine just because of his body type and how big he is. He's just a big man, but he wouldn't have it to the extent because he would be taking better care of himself. So 2020, because the Jets 2020 season, we went 3-14. That was the tank for Trevor season. So it did look like the Jets were going to move off of Darnold if they got the first overall pick and had the chance to draft Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, hindsight's always 2020. Looking back at that, I would say, yeah, like I would do it. And looking back at it, I would say I would do it. At the time, I would have done it. But then we get into this situation into the offseason where we hire Robert Saleh. Obviously, Adam Gase fired after that year. And we hire Joe Douglas. Or Joe Douglas might have been there a little bit earlier. But yeah, we hire Robert Saleh. And obviously a new coach after 3 years of the quarterback, a new coach is going to want to come in and draft his own guy. He doesn't want to take over the, although still very young, he was 23 years old. 23 years old. They don't want to come in and overtake the struggling rookie quarterback unless it's there's few cases where coaches do this. It's like coming in to save the young quarterback and as an offensive minded coach, which honestly is what the Jets should have done. I know they kind of tried to do that with Adam Gase, but anyone could have sniffed that out from the start. Like, what the hell were the Jets thinking? I mean, a good example of this right now is with Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville. Liam Cohen coming in and saving the young kid with some of his struggles. Me and Johnny goes to the University of Kentucky. I went to the University of Kentucky. I graduated last year. But my freshman year, we had Will Levis, and Liam Cohen was our offensive coordinator. And he just has a knack with these quarterbacks to get something out of them. We had an amazing year, and Will Levis had an amazing year in 2021 with Liam Cohen. And then after that, Cohen went to the Rams the year after the Rams won the Super Bowl, and Stafford was injured for the most part that year. But that's the year that Baker Mayfield came in and had that great Christmas Day game on short notice because he was signed off the street. And then Liam Cohen came back to Kentucky after that year. There were some rumblings that Mark Stoops was going to leave. So Liam Cohen went to Tampa with Baker, and Baker had a lot of his success with Liam Cohen last year. And then now Liam Cohen this year went and took the Jacksonville job. And he's just a quarterback guru, quarterback whisperer, gets the most out of his quarterback and his guys. And that's just the type of guy I think the Jets should have gone after. Obviously not Liam Cohen back in 2020 because he was kind of just starting out with, not starting out, but like getting into his groove as a coordinator in Power 5 football, college football. But a guy like that, instead of Adam Gase, who, I mean, his tenure with the Dolphins was really bad. Like why are you going out and getting that guy? And when the Jets hired Robert Saleh, he was the hottest prospect, hottest coaching prospect. And if I remember the cycle the year before, the coaching cycle, I wanted the Jets to fire Adam Gase and get Robert Saleh because I was like, there's no way that this guy's going to be around here next year if we fired Adam Gase. And the Jets got lucky, and he was. And I just think that if they hit on not even got someone great in the draft in 2020, if they got someone, just someone who could help stabilize that offense, then whether they fire Gase or not, you could have a situation where the Jets are bringing Darnold back and he actually had the chance to grow because, and I want to take a look at this. So the Jets in 2023, when they went 7-10, I believe they were like 7-4 or 6-4 or something, and had a legit shot for the playoffs. This was or it might have been. Hold on one second. 2022, actually. My bad. I'm jumping the gun here. 2022 when we went 7-10 with Mike LaFleur, the now Rams OC, as our offensive coordinator, with Robert Saleh as the head coach. And these games we were winning. We had an amazing team. You know, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Brees Hall on that front defensive line, Jermaine Johnson, Quentin Williams. We had Quincy Williams come on and have a great year for the Jets. And the one thing we said about this team was, oh, this team's amazing, but we're just a quarterback away. We're missing a quarterback. Zach Wilson's not ready. He's not the guy. And I believe, and that year, Sam Darnold was, I believe, still with the 49ers, I think. And, you know, if the Jets, and this is a long ask. This is 5 years into, this would be 5 years into his tenure with the Jets. So it is a long ask to try to hold on to a guy for this long, but he would have flourished with a Michael Floor type who now, just like Sam Darnold, early struggles in his career, is now in the NFC title game as an OC. But pairing him with Garrett Wilson, you had AVT that year, I believe, and yeah, I just think he would have really taken off that season or before. He would have kept developing into a better quarterback. It's just that there was no stabilization. Like, there was no stable situation for him with the Jets. And he went to San Francisco, sat behind Brock Purdy, learned the Shanahan offense, really got to develop during that year. And then even with the Vikings last year, I I would always call the last couple of years of Vikings like the 49ers junior, like, or like a Walmart version of the 49ers. And now this offense, it might be neck and neck or even better, minus the quarterback, because for the longest time, the 49ers had Debo. The Vikings have Justin Jefferson. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is a much better player than Debo, but like, I don't know. Debo is kind of a gadget player. You can make him a running back. You can put him out wide, whatever. And then the Vikings, they used to have Dalvin Cook. The 49ers have McCaffrey. Now the Vikings have Aaron Jones. It's just like a Walmart version, I guess. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit, but you get the sense. They're both great offenses. And Kevin O'Connell and Shanahan are both similar style coaches, in my opinion, where they can get more out of a less talented quarterback because the quarterback is the system, or like the system is the quarterback. Um, you have amazing players around the quarterback, and you put them into the system where they're just making these decisions, and it's less about their physical talent and more about their reads and their preparation. So Darnold going there was a picture perfect situation for him. And then late in the season against the Rams, we saw a lot of the struggles that we saw him have with the Jets. Um, comes time, obviously, excuse me, he never really played in a big game with the Jets, but same, I guess, situation almost where he showed flashes, and that whole year for him was a giant flash. But then he kind of wilted when it came time for the last game against the Rams and then the playoff game against the Rams too. Um, he when the moment got big and got bright, um he didn't become better. He became worse, and it had a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, that's just what Sam Darnold is." And for him coming into this year, joining the Seahawks, and I had my doubts on Sam Darnold joining the Seahawks just for the fact that he wasn't in this robust offense anymore. He wasn't with the genius that is Kevin O'Connell. Um, but I believe their OC in Seattle's Kubiak, who I know I was saying I wanted the Jets to hire him last year, and Clinton Kubiak, I believe, the son of Gary Kubiak, the Broncos' old head coach. And you can find this on the podcast from last year when after the Jets hired Glenn and we're waiting to see who his coordinators would be. I really was outspoken in that I wanted Clinton Kubiak to be the Jets OC. Um, but that offense is very similar. Now JSN taking a step. You have that 1-2 punch in the backfield with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. I know Charbonnet tore his ACL last week, so they definitely take a hit there. But that defense is back to what it used to be. I mean, obviously, it's not Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor out there and Michael Bennett, but that and Bobby Wagner. But that defense is elite, very good. And another former Jet on that defense, Leonard Williams, who the Jets were right for trading him. You're not going to keep him this long, but it's so frustrating to see teams like a team like that or guys like that we drafted who were these can't miss prospects, and we never got anything out of them. So yeah, and then going into the playoff game this past weekend, the Seahawks totally stomped the 49ers. 49ers were just injury riddled and all that. But you watch a guy like Darnold and you just can't help but think like what could have been with the Jets. And a lot of the Aaron Rodgers stuff, like we got Aaron Rodgers because we had this big void at quarterback when we had the quarterback all along before, but we gave up on him too early. And it just shows our ownership, everything from the top down. If you're going to be that dysfunctional, you're never going to win anything. And yeah, I mean, I've just been rambling on here for the last 30 minutes or so, but I want to leave you guys with this quick little thing I've always seen in the NFL since the Jets fired Robert Saleh and he shipped off Sam Darnold. I think I made a TikTok about this a couple months ago, but I'm not positive. So Robert Saleh gets to New York, and his first order of business, or one of his first orders of business, is shipping off Sam Darnold to Carolina. Um, the Jets' first game of the season that year was against Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. Jets lost to Sam Darnold and the Panthers. Fast forward a couple years to last season, the 2024 season, when Robert Saleh got fired. The Jets went to London to take on Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold beat the Jets, and the day later, a couple days later, whatever it was, Robert Saleh got fired. So I think it's so funny because it's something I've noticed. Definitely a thing I've seen. I think it's so funny that other people don't see this, because in my head, I feel like these two guys are so tied together because Saleh shipped Darnold off, lost to him in his first game ever as a head coach. In his last game ever as a head coach, I know now he just took the Titans job and he's going to be the Titans head coach. But in his last game as a head coach for the Jets, lost to Darnold. And then even this year, I think I did make a TikTok because I was saying that Saleh like kind of got his get back on Darnold because it was Saleh's defense, because he was the DC for the Niners this year, that got a strip sack on Darnold to end the game. And then Darnold kind of got his payback back again this past week, beating Saleh and the 49ers in the divisional round. And it's just, I know like late in the season, a couple weeks ago, in a game that the Seahawks won, Darnold kind of had some mishaps, but he put it together towards the end of the game. He helped lead that Seahawks team to victory. And last week he was great. I know they beat up on a battered 49ers team, but I don't know. Just sometimes I sit here just when I'm thinking like, yeah, the Jets were dumb for giving up on him, but when you put everything into context and like really dive deep more into everything, they look even dumber. So I'm just gonna leave you guys with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna do some more of these, just getting on and rambling and unedited, just conversation, just talking to the camera about topic I feel compelled to talk about. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. And just remember to like the videos, comment, subscribe, follow us on all our socials. And yeah, thank you guys.